Hello everyone, Alan here, and I'm going to double dip tonight, meaning I did a tag video earlier, and now I'm going to do a nonfiction November review of The Fiery Trial, Abraham Lincoln and American Slavery by Eric Foner, won the Pulitzer Prize. And I'm going to talk about abolitionists and colonialization. I learned a lot from this book. I also listened to the Libby app, library app, got it for free, the audiobook, and I listened to it on the run with my earbuds in, like on the train, the streetcars, and I listened to it on Bluetooth speaker while I was painting and stuff. And, of course, read the book. You have a lot of notes in it. But the Audible guy, I'll put a link up here. He reminded me of Hal Holbrook, his voice. And, Hal Holbrook is known for being Mark Twain. So it was like listening to Mark Twain tell me about Abraham Lincoln. I'm not sure I really enjoyed it, the audio, but coming right up. Stay tuned. Thanks. Hola everyone. Hello, Alan here. Today I'm coming at you with a book I read for Nonfiction November, The Fiery Trial. I have a lot to say about this book. I mentioned the Mark Twain thing. I don't know if that's a good thing. It was kind of distracting for me, actually. What I learned a lot. I knew, I didn't know Lincoln was so secretive. I want to read more books about the occultish side of Lincoln. And also this took me into a mini dive, not a deep dive, but mini dive on Amazon Prime. I watched a Gettysburg documentary. I watched a Sherman documentary. There's a lot of good photos in here. And that I like the beginning part where Lincoln was young and he took 2 trips up and down the Mississippi River on a flatbed boat, and then he came back in a steam boat. But that's the first time he got a glimpse of slavery on the sides of the Mississippi going down to NOLA, New Orleans. It's interesting about his politics. He was a lawyer first and an orator. Really got his stronghold in that. Then he started running for politics, for office in Congress. And he had his foes and his nemesis. One was great antagonist Stephen A. Douglas. Lincoln was a Republican. And he was, one interesting thing I found in this book was I didn't know all about colonialization and how Lincoln was, I guess, for that. He propagated it and suggested it. More than that, looked into it and proposed it. And colonialization is sending the blacks back to Africa and or Haiti and or setting up a place in America. They considered that. Yeah. So I was surprised with that. Okay, the word abolitionist. As you can be an abolitionist for capital punishment. I'm not for capital punishment myself, but it's usually referred to slavery. And it's hard to say that Lincoln was an abolitionist. Hard for me to say. They were radical Republicans who were really against the emancipation of slavery. But it's like you think you know the story, or I think I know the story and I don't. So in that regard, this book was good. Now then, my overall review of the book is it's very dry. It's like a textbook. It really is. Let me see. It has this much of the book is notes. Okay, so from like 321 to 426, 100 pages of notes. It's really dry. It has some good photographs and things I didn't know, graphs. They kept Confederacy for a while after the Civil War, after the surrender. 1863. Yeah, even towards the end. Lincoln also he abandoned the idea of colonialization. When the Emancipation Proclamation was issued, the black abolitionist H. Ford Douglass predicted that the progress of the war would educate Mr. Lincoln out of his idea of the deportation of the Negro. The change Douglass predicted did come, but gradually, after January 1st, 1863, now that's long after, it's not long, but it's a bit after that, Lincoln made no further public statements about colonization, perhaps realizing that such statements had failed both to persuade blacks to immigrate or to reconcile his critics in the northern and border states to patient. Now, during the Civil War, black slaves could enlist in the army and become free afterwards if they lived through it. That's true. Lincoln held up that. Check out the presidential election of 1864, still Confederate states. Lincoln was a national unionist, a Republican. Democrat McClellan. It was a landslide. But look at all the dark Confederate states still. It took a while for them to come into the Union, and they had to recognize blacks as free. Let me close with this, or I could go through the pictures again, but here are the chronology. Yeah, like Lincoln was elected in 1834 to 4 terms in Illinois, the House of Representatives. So he was in Congress in 1834. Now his first term was when? Gave a lot of speeches in between that time. 1864, November 8th, Lincoln is reelected. And then he's 1865, March 3rd, Lincoln signs bill freeing wives and children of black soldiers. So he was, making strides big time for the American slaves. What about slaves that were born in America in that? April 9th of 1865, General Robert E. Lee surrenders in Virginia. April 11th, he gives his last speech before his death. Lincoln favors limited black suffrage in the South. April 14th, Lincoln is assassinated. So Lincoln is shot on the 14th and dies on the 15th. So do I recommend the book? Like I said, it's really dry. If you're into Lincoln, yes, I recommend the book. Does it make me want to read more about Abraham Lincoln? Yes, most definitely. Will I keep it for a reference book? Yes, I'll keep it and dig into it from time to time. And that's my review of the book. I hope you liked it. If you did, think about liking, subscribing, make a comment below. I'll reply to you. And ta-ta from Portland.